He had really good energy, and throughout the process, I learned from him as we talked, and so it was really good. And then, you know, when you see his physical skill set, obviously, like you're absolutely excited about that. His size, his speed, his strength, his toughness, his one-on-one demeanor. He's like, you know, we think we got a good one.
We saw Wink's reaction.
He's a guy that
hugging, you know, bear hugging. Where were you when that pick was made?
I was right behind him.
Did you get to express any?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you get to bear hug?
I was really excited to get the guy we wanted.
What did you learn from him, and can you give us an example of a conversation that you had when you were there for class work?
Yeah, so I was going through, because I think in our league there's a progression that for corners to go through of backfield set. Look at that. What does it tell me? What does the formation tell me? What does the split tell me? And he and I were going through that, and then he helped me understand in that process that I had never articulated the exact progression. And so it made me a better teacher coming back, that no, I need it to be exact on the progression. What is first? What is second? What's third? What's fourth? So I've since changed how I talk about it, and I teach it in an exact progression. Here's your exact progression. And once he got it, you know, he was able to give it back. And it was interesting to hear the things that he saw and he thought. And so it was good interaction.
Jerome, can you talk, with the way that the offenses are now playing in the slot, you know, they're putting big guys in there, tight ends and whatnot, how does that change the approach you guys take with coaching the slot the slot cornerbacks, and, you know, how you might play that position?
Yeah, and also the bodies that go in there. It used to be that you only put like little corners inside, like twitchy small guys, but now it's almost becoming a matchup game. It depends on who their slot is, like, because you get some big guys in there to deal with. So that's why we like having like so many guys with versatility. Like when you think of X, when you think of McLeod, when you think of Bobby McCain, and now when you add our corners in the mix, like we have options to match the bodies, hopefully, and get it right.
So it becomes more of a committee approach now, as opposed to having one guy in there.
It depends. Like you may have that guy that you say, I like him versus anybody. Hopefully we have that guy. If we don't, then we'll go by the committee approach and see how we can, again, take away those guys in there that we know are problems.
Is Nick McLeod now a safety?
He's been repping at safety in the spring for us, yes.
And what did you see from him that, I know he played some last year, if you look at
he played everything.
Over,
He
right?
played everything.
So when you look at him and his body type of skills, you say like, okay, maybe he could be our third safety, whatever. What do you see in his skills that leads you to
big
believe
and
that?
physical, fast, versatile, you know, because we do so much with our safeties covering the slot. We're blitzing the nickel, and now we need a guy who can cover that slot receiver. So we like him for that. We like him for his toughness. We like him for his competitiveness, you know, and thought he would help us at the safety position.
Does he go back safety cornerback, or is the plan
Right now,
just to keep him safe?
Right now, he's just playing safety. And then, like last year for us, he played the dime role, which is really almost a safety body, safety jobs. So we thought, let's look at him at safety this off season, see how it looks.
Because you had all those young guys getting such big reps, I guess, what have you seen from them this time around, like this camp?
Yeah, all those young guys, you know, are doing well and playing up at the level we want them to right now. And I know we got a long way to go, and right now we're in shorts, and once we put on pads, that'll be the real evaluation for them and see where they are. But right now, like, getting those guys reps are valuable for us this time of year. As a matter of fact, like, you'll see us pull some reps off Adoree, pull some reps off of X, just so we can let the young guys play, let them play, so that they can work out some of it. Because I tell them all the time, like, I'm going to teach them, their teammates are going to help them, but at the end of the day, I got to figure out how to do this job. Some of the, like, obviously the jobs are hard, And unless you go figure out how to do that, you won't ever learn to do it. So the more reps we can get them, the better. And we're going to, again, just keep throwing them out there and get them reps so that they can figure it out.
You guys obviously tried to make it work last year, as much as possible with the guys that you had. How much does this benefit team-wise and the defense in general when you have a guy that, okay, he's a 3-down guy, we can play him all the time, we know we can just leave him out there, and he can do everything.
It's like anything, as you continue to add talent, it just helps everybody out. And he does have a skill set to really be able to do all of those things, which we're excited about. And it also helps the other guys too, as they see him, and he can be an example for some of those younger guys, and kind of exactly like, hey, this is how we want to do things, and he does a good job of that.
What veteran presence has Adoree brought to this defense to help, to help out the younger guys and stuff like that feel more comfortable?
Yeah, Adoree, man, he's a guy that's smart. You know what I mean? Obviously, I don't work with him every day, but he's one of my favorite guys on the team. A guy that really lends a lot of good stuff to those younger guys, whether it's in the DB room or whether it's in the linebacker room. He pops he'll come in the front of our meeting in the beginning of our meetings and just pop in the linebacker room just to hang out, which is something I love about Adoree. You know what I mean? So he brings that veteran presence for the entire defense.
When did Bobby first come on your radar? Were you in the league when he was coming in?
Yeah. I remember evaluating him when he was coming out of Stanford. You know what I mean? He was a guy that, you know what I mean, his length stands out. Even though he's not tall, he's got like 34-inch arms, which really, really at the linebacker position can really benefit you in a lot of different ways. And so an athletic guy that kind of stood out to me at the combine when he was there. Met with him as an informer, so he was really smart just in that smaller setting that we had. So he's a guy that I'll be honest, I'm a little biased. I'm Nigerian, he's Nigerian. So he's a guy that, that kind of stuck out to me as a guy that just wanted to monitor his career a little bit, just because, as a fellow Nigerian out there that, I like to see those guys do well.
Your parents were first generation?
Yeah. Oh, my parents were immigrants here.
Your parents were, and so was his. So was his, right?
Yeah.
So
similar type of deal. So.
Do you see a lot of similarities in work ethics and things like that come from that?
Yeah, I do. Just from our background, I mean, that's instilled in us. You know what I mean? From my parents coming over, what they had to do to come out when they came over here as a country, as immigrants. That work ethic to get where they were at. You know what I mean? It's part of our heritage and part of our background. And you see those same things with Bobby.
What do you hope to get out of Jarrett this year? You guys obviously liked him right away.
Yeah.
And, he late season had an impact late season.
Yeah. For him, like the biggest thing is like, he got a lot thrown at him right away. You know what I mean? Trying to come in and learn the system. So for him, right, to continue, the physical nature is there. Like his physical ability to be physical in the run game, those things we want to continue. It's just now he's going to get more comfortable just spending more time learning our system, spending more time in like our techniques, things like that, the nuances that I think is really going to propel him, going into the training camp and into next season. So we're just going to continue to develop him and see where he ends up at.
How much has Beavers been able to catch up or keep up mentally, even while he's doing all his rehab, so he's kind of ready to go when he's physically set?
Yeah, a lot. You know what I mean? He's in all our meetings. Anytime we have, a walkthrough period, he's in there getting the reps, things like that. So he's done a good job of staying up mentally. He's met with me. You know what I mean? And anytime he asks questions, things like that, he's always asking about that stuff, whether it's after meetings and things of that nature. So he's been staying on top of the mental aspect of it.
I'm proud of him. He came in and worked real hard to try to master the technique and fundamentals that we were teaching him, and continue to grow more and more through the course of the season. But I'm greedy. It's just the beginning, so it's not the end. And I know he understands that, and he's out here working hard to continue to improve and get better.
Where does he have room to get better?
Oh, he's got a lot of room to get better. That's the beauty of this game. You have to continue to have your game grow in order to be a really good player for a long length of time. If your game stays the same, the offensive coaches and the offensive linemen figure it out. So you always got to add, to your games each year in order to continue to play at a high level.
What is it about his relationship with Leonard on the field that they work so well together? How do they complement each other?
They're like twins. They can finish each other's words. They know how to play off of one another. And, that's why it's great when they're both on the field together.
Is that rare?
Yeah, I've had, a couple times in my career, that kind of combination. It doesn't happen a lot, as far as a coach in this league. And when you have it, you're real happy that you do, and try to keep it together as long as you can.
You have a young guy by the name of Ryder Anderson on your unit. What have you seen from him, and where has he made the most growth?
I'm really, really pleased and happy with what Ryder's done this offseason. Last year he was 282, 85 pounds. Now he's 305. So he's changed his body. He's a big, strong man. And he's gotten better with his technique over the OTAs. And so now he just has to carry it over and continue to improve when we get to training camp.
How much did the two veterans that you brought in free agency, Rakeem and Aishan, how much did they add to the room?
Oh, they add a lot to the room. They got a lot of experience playing in this league. They're both big, strong, powerful guys that enjoy playing around. And, so it's a great addition to our room. And Joe and his staff have done a great job of adding to my room and making the competition level really high. We're going to have great competition to see who's going to make this team.
Did you feel like you had guys go down last year? Did you feel like later in the season that it was getting tough rotation-wise, maybe as good as Dex and Hunter are, that you had them out there more than you wanted to?
Yeah, we dealt with some injury issues with Leo, and so he missed quite a few games. And as you know, we were signing guys from different places as the season went on. So it's kind of hard to get that continuity to go together, but you just got to do the best job you can as a coach to get those guys prepared to play.
How are these? You had two veteran guys last year too, and Nick and drawing a blank right here. But how are these two guys? Yes, thank you. How are these two guys different that you brought in this year? Maybe are they just more experienced, younger, a little bit younger? More left in the tank, you think?
Well, I really wouldn't want to compare them. I just know this. I know Aishan and Nacho pride themselves on being really good run players. And their demeanor is all about the run game. And I think that's going to add to our room and how they see themselves and how they carry themselves on the field. And hopefully, that's going to show when we get pads on and we can go out there and play real football.
As a D-line coach, was it a gut punch sometimes last year when you guys were giving up big games? The Eagles obviously are one with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Was it a gut punch for you a little bit?
Well, I look at it like this. It was a gut punch for all the defensive coaches, right? Because it takes all 11 to stop the run. I mean, not just 2 D linemen on the field or 3 D linemen on the field. It takes all 11 of us to stop the run. It takes all 11 of us to stop the pass. It's a team game. And so we all were disappointed in that aspect of our game. And we've all been working hard to try to improve that. And Wink's been a stickler on that with all of the position groups, because it takes all of us to get it done. And we're going to work real hard to try to fix it this year.
Wink talked last week about how much max protect y'all faced last year, and particularly he said offensive coaches knew we knew how to defeat their protections. How do you expect the way you're played to change this year after they saw what y'all did last year?
No, I don't think it'll change. It's where I came from, we saw the same thing, right? When I was in Minnesota, we were the same way. When you're known for bringing pressure and you're known for finding a way to attack their protections, they're going to protect their quarterback and they're going to overly protect their quarterback. But as D linemen, we tell ourselves we don't care if we got to beat 2 to get back there. We got to find a way to affect the quarterback. And to me, it comes down to, sacks are a pretty thing, and sacks are things that people can see and account. But really what it comes down to is, do we affect the quarterback? Do we make him throw it before he's supposed to? We make him throw it, get off the spot. We make him throw it too high, too low. That's what we're trying to do. But that's what wins games. So that's what we're trying to do as a D-line.
Jordan Riley's a guy that had a real winding road to get here. What is it that you guys like about him, and as far as why you brought him here?
He's got some gifts that you can't give him as a coach. He's 6'5", He's 235 pounds. He is a big, strong man, and he's got some things that technique-wise that we've got to work with him on to improve, and he's done a good job since he's been here trying to grasp those things. But what the gifts he has, a coach can't give you that, and so that was what stood out to us.
You guys left here after the season. Obviously Aziz had a disappointing year staying on the field. What was the marching orders to him to have him come back and try to help prevent those things?
Yeah, I think Aziz is moving around really well right now. He's worked really hard in the off season. We have really great strength program, really great trainers. So I think he put together a great plan, and he said, okay, here's areas that he can, attack things differently. And he did a lot of things really well last year. Like, he had a great training camp. Obviously, he had to battle through some things, but when you look at it, look at the end of the year stats, obviously, would love to have him out there a lot more than he was. But really, he had one of the highest in the league sacks per rush in the league. So it's just, making sure he's out there and he's rolling, because when he is, he can be a problem.
What do you do to make sure he's out there? What can you do, to sort of prevent stuff or get in shape to try and make it through a whole season?
I think the great thing here is everybody has an individualized plan for how to get healthy if they're banged up, how to stay healthy. And I think that's probably a better question for our strength staff. But I know that all those plans are individualized for those guys, and it's, every day going in there, they have a plan tailored for that, for a specific guy, what he's been through, where he's going, and I think they do a good job of that.
Is limiting, how much you use him or use him in a certain role something you would think about, you guys discuss?
I think that was probably more, in the past worrying about that. Right now he's healthy, and I think we're excited for where he's going to take this thing.
Sorry if this is a repeat,
Oh,
because I
go
just
ahead.
walked over. When Kayvon told us that he only watched his bad plays from last year, what does that tell you? And did someone tell him to do that, or did he just do it?
I think he's so self-motivated, and he studies so much tape on his own, like all the great players around this league do. They study themselves, and I think he, you don't have to go far to find his good plays, right? They're all over the place, and for him to dig deep and say, hey, how can I do this better? This was a game where, I felt like I could have done this instead of that. That really shows he's conscientious, and he really wants to get better and eliminate those things from his
Is
game.
the next step for him, though, to kind of eliminate some of those lulls, if you will? I mean, there were a few,
I would say with him, getting healthy early in the season last year was a big part. And then also as he continued on the year like that, we were impressed with his communication and kind of how he was able to, in base defense, he's the Sam. So he's making a lot of those close calls, doing a lot of things that, really help run that defense. So taking those things to the next level, obviously, with anybody, we always look at, rather than sacks or anything, we look at their win rate. So one-on-one pass rush win rate, because everything else is dependent on a lot of factors. So if they're winning their rush and finishing their rush, so whatever that number was last year, we're always striving to get those numbers higher and improve our rush ability, improve our edge setting. That's really for the whole room.
Drew, when you guys step on the field as a defense, especially last year, offensive coordinators go right to Dex, right, and say, okay, here's where Dex is. When we talk about Kayvon and you talk about how great he wants to be, how great you guys think he can be, how close is he to being a player that offenses will look at and say, we've got to worry about that guy and take him out of the game?
Yeah, I think that continues to evolve and continues to grow. Like, one thing we focus on a lot in our rooms, we talk about, hey, we're building skyscrapers. We're not, every day we're trying to stack another level of that thing. And I think last year, you see, he built that foundation. So now you can start stacking from there. And really, we talk about those skyscrapers. You walk out here, you see, most impressive in the world. And the thing you see is they're all different. They all took a different amount of time to get built. But ultimately, at the end of the day, one level at a time. Just keep stacking it one level at a time. We'll see how high we can get this thing.
Drew, last time we spoke with Kayvon, he said something about using his strength more to his advantage. How can he do that, and how has he come along in that?
Yeah, I think with all of our guys, as they continue to grow and evolve as rushers, it's using every tool in their toolbox. So, if you have a great speed rush, the tackle's going to try to take that away by, retreating back towards the quarterback. You got to be able to punish him with some power there. And the same thing, if he tries to overset you, you got to be ready to go with inside moves. So whatever the tackle's giving you, you need to develop the tools to counter that and take the next thing that, you know, the next move off your first move. And I think he's done a great job of that.
Set a sack number last year, and he kind of doesn't want to approach it that way. He realized it's game to game. Have you discussed the mental approach to how to get the best out of himself every week?
You know, I think he does a great job focusing on the next rush, and the next way he can impact the game. Because, you know, he had however many sacks last year, and a lot of them were really high impact plays towards the end of the game where, you know, he's seen what the tackle's given him, and he's taken advantage of those things. So those high impact plays are what we're looking for in pass rush, in the run game. If we drop him in coverage, he's looking to make an impact on the game. Ultimately, that comes from doing your job first and then seeking greatness after that. And that's what he does really well. And as far as that number, that's something, you know, in this scheme, those sacks are going to be spread out because we're able to, you know, have him penetrate and get up the field and create a sack for the next guy, just based on our pressures and everything else we do. So really, it's a selfless brand of football that these guys will play. But obviously, those sacks would come, and you know, sacks are correlated to a lot of things in the league that aren't necessarily tied to one guy. And we're just going to worry about, hey, we're going to win our rush. We're going to keep rushing, keep coming.